Warren Pump, as a new treasurer, needs to learn to get his vocabulary right, because what he meant to say was from the bottom of his wallet, not so much from the bottom of his heart. So I'm just trying to educate him. Once you become a treasurer, you'll learn that within clubs, so take that on board, Warren.
Thank you.
A couple of things. I do want to report back on looking at the captain's reports. I've now run between the last 3 Saturdays, I've spoken to 15 captains, mainly first and seconds, and trying to educate them about the requirements. I have asked them, which you'll be pleased, Jeff, about have they received from the Secretary the guidelines that I sent out to every club on how to assess a captain and how to assess an umpire from a captain's viewpoint. And every one of them so far have said they've received it, of those 15 that I've spoken to. So that's really pleasing. And I did speak to one captain today, finally got back to me, and he gave, just to let everyone know, he gave a 9 to one umpire, he gave an 8 to another, like all 9s, all 8s. So I rang him, I said, well that's terrific, that, you know, I'm pretty happy with it, it's reasonably high, but there must be something you're looking for in the 9 of that umpire, and you've only given an 8, can you tell me what it was? He went, oh yeah, and then he apologised, he said, oh, I remember you talking to me last year, Benny, I need to give you comments about what it is. So I'm getting buy-in from the captains who now are going to give some constructive feedback. I've also rung, I think it's 9 umpires so far, just checking how you're going, how you're settling in, all them sort of things. A number of new guys I haven't got to yet, and I've had a number of umpires send me some emails querying about certain things within the rules and things like that. So we'll continue to do that. Now tonight I've got a couple of things I want to talk about. The first one is I got an email from an umpire just sort of asking about, because it's a little confusing when you look in the handbook and you go to 16.13 and then you go to 17.93. One's under 2-day game and one's under 1-day game, about above the shoulder full toss as they sink from above the waist. So it was really good to get that email because it highlighted to me that there is some confusion out there. So I sent back an email, and hopefully the umpire I sent it back to was able to interpret it and understand what I was trying to do. So I want to explain that tonight as well, and I'm also going to give a copy of this to Michael Moore to whack it up on our website. But basically, in our handbook, I'll call it a bylaw, 16.13, and the 2-day game and 17.9.3 talks about specifically above the shoulder from a slow bowler, right? So don't get confused thinking, oh, do they mean above the waist? Above the waist comes under the laws of cricket, right? And it comes under law 41.7. Matter of fact, it's 41.7.1. So you can go up and have a look at law, and that talks about above the waist. Now, a couple of things, and I'm also, when I talk to captains, I talk about rules and things like that. Above the waist is aimed, and in the laws of cricket, they talk more about the belly button area, not the waist of a pair of pants or where it is. Now, it's really hard to judge. A lot of cricketers in the early stage, before the hot weather comes in, they wear those short sleeve jumpers over, and you can't see where it is. So it's a bit of a judgment call. And again, if you're not sure, this is one of the areas where the benefit of the doubt can go to a bowler. Is if you're not sure exactly what the bowler's got the benefit of the doubt, you might give a friendly close to above the waist, mate. You might want to be careful of that, right? So be mindful of that. Now, what we've tried to do with the sub-district and the bylaws is more about our level of cricket. We don't want a 13, 14, 15-year-old kid who's trying to learn the craft of spin bowling, and he's trying, as the captain or the coach says, get it up there, and he bowls a full toss. All of a sudden, under the law, it says first warning, final, done, and you're off. That's not going to happen in subbies. So that's why it's important to read those two bylaws, because it's different to the laws of the game above the waist. All right, really important. So it talks about 16.13 dangerous and unfair bowling, slow, high, full pitch deliveries, and it talks about the bowling provisions of Law 41. I'm not going to go through it all tonight, there's a fair bit there, but I want you to have a look at the bylaws or the rules in the handbook and then look at Law 41 in particular 41.7 under the laws of cricket. Is that clear to everybody? Now, the other thing is, and I'll also include this in my up-to-date when I send out rules reminders, which, is there everyone in the room received the rules reminder, the first one that was sent out? Is there anyone that didn't? Is there anyone that doesn't have an email address? Because I brought some hard copies. Come and see me, Gary, after, and I'll give you one. So those that didn't have an email, wouldn't receive it, I'll give you a hard copy. I don't want anyone missing out. And again, that information will be put up on the website by Michael Wall. So that's just for clarification on those two distinct between above the shoulder bylaws and the laws of cricket above the waist. Clear? Thank you. All right, just before I get John to push the button, I've got a PowerPoint presentation and it's going to cover three components. One's going to be an all-time favourite. You're going to love it, I know. You're just thrilled about doing LBWs. So it had to come up at some stage through the year. I thought I'll get it over and done with as early as possible. You'll be surprised and amazed at how many captains have put from round one, how they're a bit disappointed in the adjudication of LBs, more about not getting the benefit of the doubt. And there was a few that obviously captains saying they thought, in their opinion, was going down league side. So there's something. Now, the PowerPoint presentation is, some of it's automated and some of it I can trigger because it's quite a bit of information in there and I want you to take it on board. So bear with me while I go through it and we'll see what happens. Obviously we're saying, John, can you see if I can go back? We'll go back.
Can you just use that and go the other way? It's got me.
Here we go. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you. Golden rule, when in doubt, not out. Does everyone clearly understand it? You've got any doubt whatsoever, 99% means you got doubt. Right? What are four things we're looking for? Where the ball pitches, where the ball impacts the batsman, point of impact, and was the ball going to hit the stumps? Really critical. If it's not going to hit the stumps, it doesn't matter. And in the captain's guidelines, I've actually said that just because a batsman doesn't play a shot doesn't mean it's out. Just because a fielder hits the stumps on the first throw doesn't mean it's out, run out. It's got to be out for it to be out. So bear with me. Remember this in a game of cricket. I'd really like to see some consistency. We've got some umpires, and I've seen some YouTube video of some of our games. I've got one I need to talk to those umpires about. I don't want to see umpires basically going up with the appeal. Every decision we make should be 1-2 decision. 1-2 finger up, and not here, get it up. You want the scorers, you want everyone to see that you're giving it out. Or 1-2, not out. A couple of us, I've only got a couple at the moment. We're standing behind the stumps, there's an appeal for the pads, the ball rolls away, and we're doing this. I don't know what's going to happen down there. While we're looking at the ground, while we're shaking the head, captains and players lose confidence. Be confident in your decision making. Go on the evidence of what you see. If that's not out, then you just stand there and say, not out. Say it loud enough that the batsman can hear it. Not out. You can sum it up pretty quickly and you'll gain more experience if you haven't umpired too long. Hits on the pad, the ball goes away, there's an appeal. They're thinking of going for a leg by maybe. They're about to run. Sum it up, sum it up, sum it up. Not out. Say it here. Not get over here and say not out. They'll think, as soon as you're over here, that's where you've made the decision from. They'll say, how can you make a decision from over there? So it's really important we stand our ground. It comes timing. Sometimes you'll be a bit slow, sometimes you'll be too quick. It comes with practice. It comes with practice. So really let's work on that, really important. So I'm going to go through this. The 1, 2, 3, I want you to be making a decision. So I want a show of hands when I ask for a decision on each one of these. 1, 2, decision. Now some of it automated, some of it's a little slow, so bear with me, be a bit patient, we'll see how we go. First one, right arm, right hand bowl to right hand bat, playing a shot. We got that? One on the left. All right? Beautiful ball. Now, this is where it is. Have a look at the lines. There's a pitch in line. Impact. Now, every one of these, none of these balls are going over the stumps. We'll quantify that right up front. All right? So, now is that out or not out?
It's hitting well down there, outside the...
All I'm saying is it's not going over the stumps. That's out. It's hitting in line, hasn't pitched outside the line. Let's go to the next one. Oh, he's back on his stumps. Think about it. Right. Impact. Is that out or not out? Who says it's not out? Fair dinkum. No nicks, not over the top. I tried to cover all that sort of stuff. Okay? No, none of that. None of that sort of stuff. That's out. Alright, let's go to the next one. A right hand ball to right hand bat playing a shot. Okay? Impacts. Is that out or not out? Quickly. Now, who says not out? Lovely. This one's a little bit slow, but we'll get there. Slow bowler. That's out. Let's go to the next one. Right hand bowler, right hand bat again playing a shot. This one's really important. Hang on, don't get ahead of yourself. Don't go up with the bowler. Impact. It's going to hit the stumps. Who says it's out? What does it say? Playing a shot.
Not out.
It's going to hit the stumps.
Impact is outside.
Is it out or not out?
Not out.
Tough audience, Jeff.
What does
It's
the
not
Bible
out.
say? What was that missing?
But up with the question, but where was it? Where did it pitch? It pitched outside the line. Okay, and he played a shot. All right. Okay, let's move it. Left.
Hitting outside the line as well.
Maybe. Yes.
Can you go to the previous one?
You want me to go back to this technology? All right.
For the one that is not out,
The one that's not out?
on
Yep.
the right hand side.
Yep.
What if it hits the batsman on the back foot?
Oh, hang on, we're not talking about what ifs, we're talking about this one.
It's hitting outside.
Where did it hit him? Where did it impact?
Outside the line.
Outside the line of the stumps?
I'm saying that if he's offering a shot, but the ball hits the batsman on the back foot, right in front of the stump.
Yeah.
So not out.
Doesn't matter. Where did it pitch?
Talking about this one.
No, but what I'm saying is, where did it pitch? Where did it pitch? Like if we go here, it's outside the line. Doesn't matter if it hit him on the back foot or not. It's not, can't be out under the rules. It's pitched outside the line. The line means, that line there, you've got to be in line with the stumps. Now we don't have those lines on the wicket surface. So that's why standing behind the stumps is really important to get your line.
The bowlers know when they see them outside the line.
Some of them do. If they know they can get you, they'll come at you.
Give a bad shot.
Okay, we now move to a left-hand bowl, to a right-hand bat, playing a shot. Okay? Over the wicket. Where are we going so far? Impacted. Out or not out? Who says not out? Michael Moore says not out. Is it out? Is it going to hit the stumps? Going by that? The answer is out. The answer is it's out. It's going to hit the stumps. Now, I'm not too sure your eyes will be able to detect that it's going to hit the stump, half a stump. You probably, I would think, give a bit of doubt. You can only go on the simulation that we've got. Okay, the next one. Left arm bowler or right hand bat playing a shot. Pitch. Impact. Going on. Is it out? Not out? Anyone say it's not out? That was one of your balls, man. That's out.
1, 2, that is out.
Correct. Okay. Left hand bowl to left hand bat, not playing a shot. Okay? Don't get too ahead of yourselves. You get too ahead of yourself. We don't want that. I want you to think. Now, I know it'll hurt some of you, but try it. They know who I mean, trust me.
Have you got any Panadol?
All right.
Not playing a shot.
Not playing a shot. It's pitched outside the line. Let's see what happens. It's going to hit the stumps. Is it out or not out? It is out. Absolutely, it's out. Not playing a shot. What's the only thing you need to worry about when I don't play a shot? Is it hitting the stumps? Let's have a look at the next one. Left hand bowl, right hand bat, playing a shot. Left hand bowl to left hand bat. Yep. Pitch. It's another swing bowl from Devlin. Impact. Out or not out? It is out. Okay. Left hand bowl to right hand bat, not playing a shot. Left hand bowl, mostly around the wicket. To right hand bat, not playing a shot. Impact. Not playing a shot. Out or not out? Out. It is. Is it out? Out. Not going over the stumps. It is out. Left hand round the wicket to a right hand bat, which means it's outside the off stump, not the leg stump. Not playing a shot. Is it going to hit the stumps? Yes, it is out. Next one, left hand bowl to a right hand bat, playing a shot. Remember, it's a left hand bat. What do you reckon so far? Going to be out or not out? Come on, you all want to do this? Right hand bat, playing a shot. Oh, well, I get confused. Left hand bowl to right hand bat, playing a shot, Michael.
1, 2, not out.
Who says this one's not out?
Benefit of the
You don't reckon it's not going to hit leg stump? Who says it's out? Come on, put your out, you think it's out.
On the ball first.
Come on.
Ball hitting the wicket.
Impact. Whoa, look at that. Answer is
benefit of the doubt.
fair for the doubt. Going to be the stump, mate. Not out. Okay, the golden rule is when in doubt,
Not out.
not out. Okay? Any questions on those? Moving on. Fantastic. Great interaction. Let's go. Run out positioning. Which way do I go? How many of you sometimes not sure? Do I go to the left? I go to the right?
Self-preservation comes into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly has. Mid off, mid on. The ball's hit by the red arrow. What direction do we go? This is where we're going. How far do we go back? How far do you go back?
As far as you can go.
You go back a reasonable to give yourself every opportunity to see exactly what's going on. Yes, Michael?
I have a query with that because
Hang on. Sorry, it's automated, so I've got to be careful.
if the ball's out here
Yeah.
and a fielder's going to field the ball and throw it to this end
Yeah.
and somebody comes into the stumps, I was always taught, how can an umpire see from this side if a fieldsman is standing over the stumps when the stumps are actually broken? Did the fieldsman break the wicket or what? So I was always taught to go this side.
That's why we're doing this, because if you go that side, you're going to be in the way of the ball. Of the player throwing it. You'll be more worried about getting hit, self-preservation on there. In this case, when it's the mid-off, mid-on, going there, go to the opposite side. Yes, Dev?
I've got a theory,
A theory.
which is,
Is
I
it relative?
got good at last year, as we know, by the batsman run on the outside of me. I was on the same side as the ball. So,
Hang on, but you're talking about
no, I was on
run.
the same side of the ball, and I usually go the same side as the ball.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've always been. As a cricketer, I've always done it. But I went to the same side as the ball, and told him to go, the guy ran behind me, and I gave it out.
Just keep him out.
Right out. And then he cheated, so he's been giving out on the ball.
Yeah, I remember we had a chat about it.
Yeah.
That's why when you go, you get there and you try and move back at a reasonable pace, still looking.
What
The
I
idea-
think-
the idea-
What if the bats, so the right-hand batter hits the ball on the leg side, normally they'll run down the side they're going to. I've had 6 collisions with batters because I'm going the opposite side since I changed, and I've had 6 collisions.
Yeah, but that's mainly because before the batsmen get there,
Yeah.
you've got to make this beeline to get to there.
Okay, yeah.
So you've got to take the straight line. So if you're here, the idea is to go, there's the stunt, I'm going to go here,
Okay.
straight line,
Yeah.
and then turn and move back.
Yeah.
If you try and go out here
Yeah.
and then in, all of a sudden you're in line with the batsman.
And you'll miss the stump.
Yeah, you've got to be in a straight, just got to make a beeline. Now most of the time, the reason you go to the opposite side is because they'll be taking a quick single.
Yeah.
In these cases, if the ball's going to be stopping around that area. And if you go the side of the ball, which I was also always taught,
Yeah.
and I've been hit by the ball.
Yeah.
And I'm going back a few years, so I had to change the way I umpire.
Yeah, okay.
So this is where this came in,
Yeah.
to help us to go to the right side. For one, it is self-preservation,
Yeah.
and secondly, to be in the best possible position to make an adjudication. It's not about always go to the ball side, always go to the opposite side. It's about going to the right position to make that decision.
So what happens then if, what I said, a fieldsman comes in and the ball's thrown in and the stumps are disturbed and you think the batsman is out and the batsman turns around and said, oh, he broke the stumps with his hands. How can you possibly see that?
Well, sometimes you can't. What would you do in that case? Hang on, one at a time. Bill.
Why don't you go straight backwards about like 4 or 5 paces, and then you can still see the whole lot.
Yeah, that's one. Murph?
And then you're not in the way of the players or anything.
Absolutely. All you need to ascertain, what you're looking at is the crease line. Your peripheral vision more than not should pick up the stumps. You're convinced, even though the body might be in front of you, that he got it. If the ball's on the ground, I'd certainly be querying it. And if he's short of his ground, before you put your finger up, you call your mate over and say, did the player receive the ball and break the stumps with the ball? You're not asking him to help you whether he's in or out. So what you're looking to is see if he's in or out, making sure, because you couldn't quite see the ball, you go to your mate and say, yes, he broke the stumps with the ball, you make a decision. Yes?
I mean, this is clearly an example of a mid-on, mid-off, close.
Correct.
And generally, as Michael suggested, we go to the side of the ball. That still holds true or not?
Well, if you watch, we'll go through that.
Andy,
Yep.
something happened when I was a club umpire, and that was a long time
Never been
ago.
the
I
same
still
since.
remember it.
Yes, no.
No, it was about probably 8 or 10 years ago. But the ball was hit really fast to the mid-off. Mid-off picked the ball up and threw it at the stumps. I was still trying to get in position and hit the stump before I got there. And I learned from that if you can't get there quick enough, you have to stop and look. And that's the one thing that I now do, because if you can't make it, stop. And I called out and I go, sorry, I can't get it out because I wasn't in a position to watch.
Yeah, and sometimes, and again, that's the benefit of the doubt, because sometimes it does happen too quick. And that'll come with experience the more we do it. That's important.
Danny,
Well, hang on. Yep,
I agree with John on that one. Always keep your eye on the ball.
absolutely. I'm going to talk
Don't,
about that.
don't be too keen to sprint out and not know what's happening with the ball.
Yep,
Then
absolutely.
you get caught out. Even if you're slow like Brian, you work out the best place to move to.
Yep.
So always keep your eye on the ball and on the play.
But I'll also tell you, and I say this about square leg a lot, and every umpire I umpire with, I always watch them at square leg, because if the ball goes behind them in some way, shape or form, and they're just looking here, it's a recipe for disaster. Especially if it goes behind you. And I've seen some umpires do this, and the ball's running out there. You've got no idea how good or how bad that thrower is. And that can happen at the bowler's end as well. And one way you'll learn, if you get hit in the back of the head, you'll never do it again, if you're still up to it. But it's really important. Nothing's going to happen there without the ball. Because if you're looking, side on, got the ball looking back, you'll pick up, you'll get the timing of the runs. If you see the keeper at the stumps or the bowler at the stumps or whatever it is, and you only got to see with the ball out there, you look back, there's a bowler on the ground, guess what? He's bumped into it, you'll pick all that up.
You get a little short run too, of course.
The whole range of things. So let's, yeah. Okay, we'll move on. Again, the ball's hit there. Which direction do we go? It's just opposite to the other one. And go there, get out of position. Similar. Okay, let's move to another one. Ball hit there. Okay, where are we going to go? Here we go. We're now going to go to the ball side. Because you're quite clear of where it is and you move back, ready to go. Ball hit there. Which side are you going to go? go to the ball side. The ball side is the best side. More times than not, exactly what Mossy was talking about, but when the ball's like that. But when it comes to mid-off and mid-on, that's the problem. This is the one, what direction you go, the ball's coming straight back. Pick a side. Pick a side. The ball comes back too quickly. What are we going to do? Remain stationary. Really important. Again, not easy to do. The ball's coming straight back. What are we looking for? Not to get hit. The ball comes off the bowler's hand if the ball hits the stumps. Clear?
Like Mr. Labuschagne did in the test match.
Really good interaction there, and you know, some input there, which is really important. This can generate a lot of discussions. Really important. We're going to go on to wides now. Now, bear with me. The ball's not exactly round in this one. More like an oval. The graphics. But anyway, have a watch. I want your decision. Wide or not wide? Fair delivery. Correct? Yep. Right. Fair or not? Fair delivery. Fair delivery? Fair delivery? It's a wide. Wide. Because it went outside crease line.
Yeah, that's only a guideline, Ben.
Yeah, but it's a good guideline.
Benny, why don't all the clubs mark the pitch with that guideline?
They do for one
Yeah, they're supposed to. All our one-day games are supposed to be marked.
And what about two-day games? They don't.
No, you don't really need it for two-day games because you should be consistent.
Still you've got
If
that.
they help you, if they're there.
Yeah.
The wide is judged at the crease line.
Yeah, and there's another story about the batsman's got to be able to play with the player's shot,
Yeah.
etc.
Can you just go back a couple of slides? Because I reckon there was the ball got passed on the crease line before it went away, so that should have been.
I think it depends on the batsman's reach.
The ball.
Have a look where it crossed. The real one is there, the front of the line. The only reason they do a full line is because it makes it easier to see. But the whole range, the line from the back of that crease line to there means nothing. Because it's the front of where the batsman is, there, but when the ball crosses. If it crosses on the line there, that's fine. If it goes outside that crease, that line there, it's a wide. If it comes in, on the line it comes in, it's not a wide. And we'll go through some more.
Ben, it's no matter where the batsman takes his stance.
Yeah, and they'll try and con you. You know, back here.
Yeah, but if the batsman walks towards the ball, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
far off it,
don't get too confused, don't get too ahead of ourselves, alright? So again, this is the one that was outside the line, okay? Remember, none of these are going over the stumps. They're not bounces, alright? Is that a wide? Fair delivery? It's a fair delivery, okay. This one. Oh, look at that. Fair delivery, cross right at the point. It is a fair delivery. Come back. Okay? Actually, yeah, he hit it too. Actually, I read something from an instruction to the other competition, a different competition, and they said you've got to be consistent calling with the wides, especially when the batsman hits it. I thought I had to read it 4 or 5 times to make sure I was reading it right. Interesting. Okay. Wide or fair delivery? Fair delivery. Look at this one. Look at this one. He's moved across. Fair delivery or wide? Didn't go outside the leg? It's outside his leg. Fair delivery. Okay, this one.
Wide.
I told you, don't go too early. Fair delivery. Okay?
That time you got a left-hander up there.
Yeah. Fair delivery or wide? Fair delivery.
Late ball.
Fair delivery or a wide?
Wide.
A wide. Watch.
That's a late ball.
Fair delivery or a wide?
Has it hit?
It is a leg wide. Well picked. Well picked.
I didn't offer a shot there, man.
Is that a fair delivery or a wide?
Fair.
Fair delivery. What's our aim with wides? Set the standard early. Be consistent. Do not enter into a discussion. The last one's probably the best advice I can give you. Do not enter into a discussion because it becomes a debate, becomes a conflict, and it will lead to worse. The best thing to say to a bowler, in particular they're the ones that are going to quit, you might get a keeper occasionally, and you get the captain if they're in first slip, who'll come up and say, how did you give that? We're back on that. How could you call that, or how could you do that? You've got to be able to answer that. And it's like the LBW one with doubt, and I spoke to David on the weekend about sometimes it won't matter that you think in answering the captain, they'll think you're trying to justify your decision, and that's one of the worst things you can do to captains. So you tell them honestly, I have a standard line. Benefit of the doubt, I wasn't sure. Or benefit of the doubt, I wasn't sure. It says, give the batsman benefit of the doubt, I wasn't sure. Where are they going to go with that? They might say that's bullshit, Benny, because they think it was out or whatever, but that's it. They can't enter into any discussion. But if you say, you know, which happened, I got one captain last week said, Benny, we know an umpire's bullshitting. So I rang him and said, what do you mean? He said, well, that was not out because it was going down leg. It was pit side, outside off, going over middle stump. It did hit him outside the line. We asked why it wasn't out, trying to get an LB. The umpire's statement was going down leg. We don't do ourselves any favours with that sort of stuff. So be honest. Pit's outside the line. Pretty hard sometimes, especially when they come forward. You know? And again, we also had a guy was given out LB on one of the new laws of cricket when the bat and pad were together and the ball hit both. And it clearly says under the new law, it can't be out. Even if you think you saw it clearly and it hit the pad marginally before it hit the bat, under that new law, that should be not out.
The problem is they give it out on TV though.
Oh.
That's the issue that we see, that everyone sees.
It is.
They give it out.
It is.
And that stupid rule, this 3 metre rule, that's wasn't going to cause grief for us too.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But the last thing also I want to quickly talk about is under the laws of cricket which came in last year. A batsman who then stands upright at the crease, if the ball goes over the head, it is a no ball. Let's look at some umpires calling it a wine.
It's a hard habit to get out.
I understand that, Peter, and that's why I'm just reminding people. And that's why the rules reminder I sent out is about some of those things. The one that happened last year, which came in a couple of years ago, and 2 umpires got caught out. First 11, a fielder, 45 minutes, I think it was, 50 minutes before he kind of knew, when they were 9 down, he went off the ground. They were all out, and he was off the ground for 45 to 50 minutes, took a while to get him out, and then he strides out and opens the batting. Under the rules, can't do that. So it's now called, and you all receive that as penalty time. So, which is, again, I won't go into great depth about that, but it's another law we need to understand about penalty time. Yep.
Is it apply what in first and fourth, probably seconds now, you've got the spare player?
No, there's a bylaw that I spoke to Jeff about, and I've sent it out. So Michael Moss sent it out. Where there's 12 players in the seconds, the thirds and the fourths, the laws of cricket don't apply. We go by our bylaws. So it's really important to read the handbook under that.
It's at 9.86,
Yeah.
Bulldog.
Which I.
Sorry,
That's in regard to the bowling.
Yes, in regard to the bowling, yes.
So,
Yes, Dev?
just a question, I did a couple of games last year, the Thursday and fourths as well, and Sundays and last week. What the club umpires need to look at is the wicket keeper putting his hands in front of the stumps. Because I'm not sure if everyone knows the law, if you could just run through that law. I'm really tough on it, because we're playing senior cricket now, we're not playing juniors anymore. I actually have called it a crane shield. If you keep a warning like, some of the captains in first ball don't even know the laws.
Well,
they think they do. They think they don't.
I mean, I think if we're all honest with ourselves, and we think about when we played did we know much about the real laws of cricket? I played for over 20 years, 25 years, and I wicket kicked. And I got myself in strife with a couple of umpires because I thought that was bullshit. And they told me the rule, and I went, oh, didn't know that.
Yeah, so just be careful with the guys, the club umpires, the keeper's got his hands in front of his stumps.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I usually give them one warning then. Call it no ball.
Yeah, it's got to be, their hands have got to be behind that, and that's why there's a crease line in line with the stumps, that line there. But I always say, and I spoke to David about this on the weekend as well, one of the things that I was taught very early in my career that will help you is, and let's say that's the crease line there, and that's where the wicket is. So I just thought when I started, I used to straddle the crease line, or the popping crease. I used to do that. And I was taught, no. Put your right foot, you know, I'm talking to a left-hand bat here. So I put my right foot on the line and move like that and stand there, so you're more that way. Spoke to Mossy about it. Makes a hell of a difference for run-outs and for wicket-keeping. Because you're just that little bit closer, and your eyes, and your hair, you're kind of trying to look in two places. When you're here, just that distance makes a huge amount of difference. Now, it takes some time to get used to, but it's really important to try and do that. And if a keeper does, he might have his hands behind when it starts, all of a sudden the ball's coming, his hands go to grab it, and you can see past the stumps, especially when you're up and you're back at it, you'll see the gloves in front, and they try and do it quickly and pull it back. The last thing I quickly want to talk about is the moving of the head. Really important, we've got umpires, and again when I look at some video footage, I see some experienced umpires who are standing a reasonable sort of distance from the bowler's end stump, and their head's doing this. Well, apart from getting a headache and a sore neck, you're not doing yourself any favours in trying to pick up the ball. And pick up the height, especially on a turf wicket when it can be variable, is really important. So if you're finding yourself not quite sure, maybe just a tad further back, just so you're only using your eyes. Only using your eyes, and it takes some practice. Right, and you're just using your eyes down there and eyes up, because you'll pick up the ball a lot quicker to see where it's going, when it pitches and when it's moving, rather than moving your head. It's really important. The other thing, we've got some umpires that don't quite understand when a batsman says, I have two legs, or I have centre of the leg, and they're not sure what guard that is. So it's something that I'll be working on to try and help umpires, especially some of the new guys that are not quite sure where it is. So we'll talk a bit more about that. The last thing I quickly want to say, thank you for participating in that. Hopefully you got something out of all those three elements, which is really important. Now I want to remind you, and I want this put up on the website, the next meeting, the November meeting, I have a very, very special guest presenter. Alright? He is going to be fantastic. So make sure you all get along to our November meeting. I'm going to keep it a surprise until the time comes, but a very, very special guest presenter in November. Alright? So thank you for listening. Hope you got something out of that. Enjoy your cricket. Those that didn't clap will get dropped.